This is the Roller Coaster Podcast, and I'm your host, Lucy Q. Life is a wild ride. It has twists and turns. It's scary, exciting, and downright fun. So throw your head back, arms in the air, and come along with me for the ride.
Life is like a roller coaster, baby, baby. I wanna ride.
Whether you're a mom to kids or teens, maybe young adults, working, staying at home, or something in between, life is busy. And trying to fit it all in and make sure that you're taking care of you, that's a lot. Joining me today is Caroline Breen from Unstoppable Moms Fitness, who helps moms create life-changing lifestyles. Hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm doing well, Lucy. How are you?
Good. So you're a new mom, newish.
I am, yes. My daughter, August, she just turned a year old in April of 2020. And so she's about 14 months now.
Those are crazy times. I remember. Mine are older. Mine are young adults. They're 18 and 21.
Oh, goodness.
But yeah, I remember that first year, it's really chaotic.
It is. It can be so hectic and chaotic. And I mean, especially, I don't know how people do it with two, but like, especially just with one and the year of first and learning everything and just taking everything in stride. And they go through phases so quickly. Everything changes, seems like week to week.
Definitely. It's like just when you think you have something figured out, boom, they're into something new.
Yes, definitely.
But I found my first really hard because I didn't know anything. You know, I was the first of my friends to have kids. I was the first in our family to have kids. So I didn't have anyone to look to. And of course, the internet, 20 years ago wasn't what it was. So I was sort of really alone in all of that. But when I got to the second one, it was like, hey, yeah, I got this. And I was way more relaxed.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, without the internet, I don't know what I would do. I can't tell you how many late night Googles I've typed in trying to find answers to things.
Yeah, I think that would have solved a few problems and also sort of take away from that isolation sometimes you can have as a mom and the things that you're struggling through, and even to find out that somebody else is having the same struggle as you, and in particular, health and fitness, because as you said, you're dealing with this new little person that's changing so rapidly. Then all of a sudden your body is not your own, and it itself is doing all these crazy things. The hormones are going everywhere. So just, in all of this chaos, just to find that time to, love and nurture your own body is such a challenge.
It really is. And it's such a struggle for so many moms to find that balance. Even if they had a great health and fitness and workout routine before they had kids, getting back into it after you have a child is just, I mean, I had a pretty solid routine, and it took me a good 4 or 5 months to start back into a steady and consistent routine again, because your world is just completely different. And as you said, like, your body is not your own anymore. And sometimes it's so hard because you might not even recognize your body, and it just did this incredible thing, but you don't even have that connection to yourself. So sometimes it can be so hard not just to get back into that health and fitness, but also to just reconnect with yourself and your body again.
And I think a lot of the times we're, at least certainly when you have your first child, is, whatever your body was before children, then all of a sudden you sort of go through the whole pregnancy, and I gained a massive amount of weight. And then after I had the baby, I just thought that once the baby came out, everything kind of goes back to the same, and it didn't. And, just trying to figure out all that, how to lose the weight. And I think we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to go back to looking like that person that we were before.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. Like, it's really like moms face this incredible pressure to start working out again or to lose their baby weight or the weight that they gained during pregnancy. And it's honestly, it's too much. You're dealing with a new little tiny human, especially for first time moms, when you're trying to figure everything out and second guessing yourself constantly, and then feeling that additional pressure from feeling like you need to get back to your pre-pregnancy weight. It can be overwhelming. I found that to be overwhelming. I felt like I had to get back and get strong again and be back to my old body. But the truth is, your body is never going to be the same, as we know. And you have to learn to love your new body. Not that it's not, beautiful and sexy. And of course you love your body, but it's not going to be the same old body that you recognize from before kids. And a lot of women do struggle with the pressure of having to get back to their pre-pregnancy weight immediately after giving birth. And it's really unfair how people look at women who have recently had children and almost assign them a label of, oh, they're dropping their baby weight, or, oh, they're not dropping their baby weight. I had a lot of people make comments about my body after I had a child because I was breastfeeding and pumping and just burning through tons of calories. So I did drop my baby weight without even really trying. And people commented like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you just had a baby. And it honestly, like, it made me feel a little uncomfortable that people were like praising me for dropping baby weight, but really they should be saying, what a great job I was doing of like taking care of my child, or like how I had a healthy pregnancy or things like that. Like it really doesn't matter as a mother what other people think of your body. You need to focus on you and not put that pressure on new moms.
Yeah, I never thought of it that way, but you're right. There does seem to be, and you know what? I've seen a lot of young women on Instagram making posts about their bodies after babies in a way that, like you just said, they're commenting, oh, I'm shedding the baby weight, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. So the women that are struggling, it's that same sort of, Facebook or Instagram shame that they're feeling.
Yes, yeah. Social media plays into it so much. And, people who are like so thrilled with their progress that they're making with, losing weight after having a child. It's not like there's, we want to put those women down either, but it is important to recognize that this is a struggle for a lot of women. And some women breastfeed, like myself, I'm breastfeeding, and I dropped a lot of weight. Other women breastfeed, they can be on the exact same schedule that I am, and they will actually gain weight or maintain their weight just because of their body. So it's difficult to say, what one woman is putting out there on Instagram for what she's doing to lose weight. Another woman is going to see that and think, well, maybe I need to do that. Maybe that's what'll work for me. But really, you just have to focus on, if you do want to drop weight, which of course is not required in any sense of the word after having a baby, you have to focus on what's best for you and what's going to work for your body. And you really just have to be patient with it and speak with kindness to yourself and learn to appreciate everything that your body is doing, taking care of your child, birth your child and all of that stuff, and not just the number on the scale.
Yeah, and it's true is that we do measure everything but that by that number on the scale. But how does again, when you're on social media, it seems like there's a different diet that somebody's promoting every day. How does that sort of affect women when they're going through this journey?
Oh my goodness. So diets, my stance on diets is I'm very anti-diet and diet culture. So diet culture is really, it's very wide ranging and it's tough to define. It used to be more black and white, but as we learn new things as humans, and as the diet culture industry evolves, it becomes a more gray area. So for diets, diet culture is really just the promotion of rules and restrictions of food, or assigning labels to food, such as like good versus bad food, or guilty. If you eat this food, you should feel guilty, or you should praise yourself for eating this food, such as like a kale salad or something like that. And when people promote different diets on Instagram or social media or things like that, it's really feeding largely into this culture, and telling women, people in general, but women it is focused on a lot, that if you follow these rules, if you follow these restrictions, if you deprive yourself of this, not only will you lose weight or achieve this physical goal that you want to achieve, but you're going to obtain happiness. Diet culture heavily plays into the idea that our body size and the number that we see on the scale determines our happiness and our value in the world. So those diets that we see on Instagram, and those fad diets, and the detox teas and things like that, all of those are playing into the idea that if you do this, you're going to obtain happiness. But we just know that's just not true. And diets anyways are just absolutely, as we've learned, they're just terrible for your body, and not just physically, but mentally.
Yeah. So, when it comes to, you're so true in saying that, they promote, this diet, and, you're going to have this level of happiness, when really it comes down to, and you mentioned about, loving your body first. I think that's so important, is that wherever you are at right now in your health and fitness journey, it doesn't make a difference how much you achieve if you don't love and honor yourself first. Because when I was at my pre-kids, pre-everything, I was this itty bitty thing, but I still thought I was fat. And I had no concept of self-love. And it's not until you get to that point where you love and honor yourself for exactly who you are right now. And sure, I might have that piece of cake today, but I spent the 90% of my day eating all of the things that were right for me. So, how are some of the ways that you found, or that you help women change their mindset when it comes to their own self-love and body image?
Well, the first thing is we want to recognize diet culture when we see it, which it is, it's everywhere. And it's not always exactly negative talk. So we associate it a lot with, those bad or guilt or things like that. But as I said, it's also praising yourself for doing well, or telling somebody, oh my gosh, you lost weight, you look so great. And I'm sure people love to hear those compliments. I know they love to hear those compliments. But it's putting value again on that fact that you now are having a smaller body size, so you have more value. And then if that person starts to gain weight again, they might not feel as valuable or love themselves as much. So the first thing that I teach is recognizing diet culture. And then, of course, we want to talk about how we can start to change our mindset around it, which is really getting into your thoughts and unlearning diet culture. So unlearning, I find it a really interesting idea, which I first learned about a year ago. And it's not just the idea of gaining more information and education and kind of putting a Band-Aid or a cover up on our old ideas and what we thought, but it's really digging deep into our current thoughts so that we know where they stem from, and then being able to change them. So when you sit down to eat something, or you're eating something throughout your day, or you see an advertisement or something like that, pay attention to your thoughts. I tell women to pay attention to their thoughts and do they subconsciously put themselves down, or do they subconsciously think, without even realizing it, I wish I looked like that. I wish I had her legs, or oh my gosh, her arms are exactly what I want. Or again, like, I shouldn't eat this food, but I'm going to eat it anyways, or something like that. So our thoughts around food and our body image, and then digging into those thoughts, not just where did it come from? Oh, I saw an advertisement, it made me think it. No, where did they really come from? Like, digging really deep into that and getting to the root of those thoughts in our subconscious mind, so that we can make them come to the surface a little bit more, and then be able to start to flush out those thoughts and replace them with more positive talk. So instead of saying, this is bad for me, or I shouldn't eat this, we want to think, this is not as nourishing as it could be, but it is something that is providing me joy, or something like that. And then when you eat a kale salad, or, you know, anything that has the label of healthy, instead of praising ourselves and thinking we are just the most wonderful thing on the planet as we, you know, saunter through the field of kale and sunshine, of really, we want to say, you know, this is nourishing for my body, and I'm providing my body with the things that it needs. But allowing ourselves things that we might currently be labeling as bad or unhealthy or guilty.
Yeah, I guess it comes down to the, you know, the 80-20 rule that just applies to just about anything. If 80% of the time you're providing your body with the best nutrients possible and exercise and water, then don't fuss over the 20%.
Right. Yes, exactly. And, you know, the 80-20 totally works for some people. And with my clients and what I teach, the 80-20 does work for some of them, and that's great. What I'm all about is finding habits that fit into your lifestyle. So if 80-20 works for you, that's fantastic, and you should go with it. But some people get really stressed out about it, and they're like calculating in their heads, like exactly what they're eating, and oh my goodness, and it becomes another stressor. So it's really about learning that balance of nourishment versus, you know, I call them fun foods, or, you know, some people call them joy eats and things like that. But all, you know, all of that balance of health and movement and proper nutrition, all of that stuff just coming together into a nice, neat little ball so that we feel our best selves.
Yeah, and it all comes down to, you know, the positive relationship that we have with ourselves, with what we eat, and how we move our bodies.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep. And, you know, like you said before, it really doesn't matter so much like what we eat or and move our bodies if we don't love ourselves in the first place. So really, sometimes when people say, you know, they want to change their body and maybe lose weight, if they don't love themselves first, that might be where they need to start. Because I know it can be frustrating to sometimes wait on weight loss if it's something that you think you're ready for and you want, but you will really gain a lot more from the experience if you love your body and you're really appreciating the experience and what your body is doing for you.
So true. So the question I have is, we sort of talked about, you know, moms and our busy lifestyles and that. The one thing that I have constantly struggled with was that famous question of what's for dinner. Because, you know, it's great while they're little and you can basically say, here's dinner, eat it. But then when everyone starts growing up and everyone's got their own preferences and, you know, they have their own health objectives, just trying to figure out what the hell everyone's going to eat for dinner. And I mean, in our house, my husband and I are vegetarian, and the boys aren't. My sons aren't. And then my son's girlfriend lives with us, and she's pretty much vegetarian. And she's also sort of what I sort of jokingly call her, but she's a bit of a picky eater. So it's always this struggle of, you know, what are we going to eat to satisfy everybody? but even, even if you sort of take it back to, when you're a mom and you're more in control of what everyone's eating for dinner. Do you have any tips when it comes to meal planning?
Yes. Okay. So I used to ask my mom that question like every night growing up, what's for dinner? What's for dinner? And she would get so annoyed and I never understood it. And now I'm so sorry, mom. So sorry.
Okay, yeah, I'm with you on that.
Oh my gosh. My daughter can't even talk yet. And I'm like, you got to eat again. Oh my goodness. Um, so for planning your meals, you said it. The best thing that my very best tip that's going to serve you is to plan ahead. Because then and I just do it a week at a time. Some people are super organized and like, yay for them, and they do it a whole month in advance. I just do a week at a time. So then before you go on your grocery trip, you know exactly what to buy. You're not going to end up throwing out any food that went to waste, and you can plan those meals ahead of time. And there are so many resources out there right now. And I really encourage people to and don't overwhelm yourself because there are an absolute ton, but find just a few people, if you have an on Instagram that you really like the recipes that they post, or a few Facebook groups. Facebook groups are really huge right now. And there are a ton that just post about healthy recipes or vegetarian recipes or recipes for a certain lifestyle, and join those Facebook groups, get involved in a conversation, or even blogs. People think blogs are dead, but blogs are still alive and kicking. So find a few blogs that you like and follow them. Get on their email list so you don't even have to go hunting for it. They'll send the recipes straight to your inbox. So it's always having those new ideas is going to keep it interesting. So you don't get bored. I know that's something people get tired of, especially kids. It's so hard when they're like, we're having this again. So it'll keep it interesting, constantly give you those new ideas and allow you to plan ahead so that and what you're going to eat. You can keep it healthy or keep it within your family's whatever limitations some people might have, and you're not making that last minute run to the grocery store or to the fast food joint to pick up some food.
And it's funny when you're sort of talking about the kids there. I remembered when to try and get my kids to eat, the healthy things I wanted them to eat when they were little, I started to make up names for food. So I would name it after, whatever TV show they were into or superhero character or something like that. And there's one recipe in particular. I used to call it Woody's Roundup soup, from Toy Story.
Yeah.
To this day, it's still called Woody's Roundup. And it's a really healthy soup, but it was just, came out of a moment of frustration when I was just trying to get them to eat something healthy. And the minute I called it that, they're like, oh, I'm going to eat it now. I love this. When 5 minutes before, they're like, I ain't touching that.
Yeah, I love that tip. Yes, like I have some spinach banana muffins, which I
Oh, I
know
saw
are
those, the green ones.
yeah, and if you name them um the Hulk muffin.
I was going to say that's got the Incredible Hulk written all over it.
Yeah, like something like that. Kids are gonna be like, okay, I'll eat this green muffin now, because I mean it is green. It could be a little off-putting, but now of course, if you assign like Woody's Roundup or the Hulk muffins, they're gonna love it.
Yeah, it certainly sort of caught on. But I've also been guilty of going on Pinterest, and I have like I've boards set up for all different types of, vegetarian, Italian food and Mexican food. And, I was really great. I think for like years pinning to these boards, but barely making recipes. So what I started to do is I set up like all these boards are, if you go onto my Pinterest, these ones are all the sort of secret hidden ones. I started to set up one called This Week. So when going back to your meal planning, I would look through my recipes and look for one sort of, one Mexican, one Italian, one sort of burger. And I would just pick one recipe from each category, put it in my folder called This Week, And then from there, I could do what you said, build my shopping list and plan everything out. And I try and have 3 or 4 meals planned at a time, because anything past that, I don't know what everyone's doing. And I try and keep them interchangeable, like not specific to the day. So it's like, okay, what do we feel like today? Okay, yeah, we're going to make fajitas. And I found that helped. It helped because you get caught up in the overwhelm of all these things. What am I going to make?
Mm-hmm.
So it helped me sort of just narrow things down a bit. Because I mean, like I said, my kids are 18 and 21, and I still struggle with meal planning and shopping and everything else. And then add on to it, trying to grocery shop with all of the lockdowns we've had and restrictions and rules. And, I tried doing groceries at the very beginning, because we were locked down for about 3 months. And at the very beginning, I would try and do a week's worth of grocery shopping in one go.
Mm-hmm.
And, first of all, trying to basically shop for 5 adults for 7 days, my cart would be overflowing. And, trying to get everything in one go, it's such a struggle. So now I'm like, if I can just prepare for 3 or 4 meals and then have it a little bit more flexibility, then I'm finding it easier, a little bit easier. I mean, it's still, I don't like cooking dinner. I'm not a cook.
Yeah. Honestly, me neither. I really am not a huge cook. Sometimes I enjoy it when I'm trying new recipes, but I do not enjoy it all that much. But that is such a smart tip. I am definitely steal
it, definitely.
Pinterest. That is really, really smart. I'm gonna tell everybody I know about that.
But you have you've got a really nice Pinterest board.
Okay.
And I saw that you even had toddler food.
Yes.
And I was so jealous of it. It was such a beautiful picture. It was, the high chair tray, and you had all the different foods cut up and lined up in sort of like a rainbow. Oh, it just looks so great. And I thought, and again, our kids watch what we do and they learn from us. So, as you're saying, as a new mom, if you're trying to adopt these new eating habits and, change how you're eating, it looks like you've got some really good tips to, get your toddler or kids involved in that.
Yes. So a rule that my husband and I have is first and foremost, if we let our toddler try everything. She's always been a great eater, so that it does make it a little bit easier for us. But for instance, I like cottage cheese. My husband thinks it is just the most disgusting thing on the planet. But if we give it to our toddler, we never say like, oh gosh, I hate cottage cheese, that's disgusting, because she's going to pick up on that, not right now, but down the road, if we keep saying, oh, that food is disgusting, or like, I hate eggplant, and be like, oh gosh, eggplant, nasty. I don't want her to think that. We always want to say like, oh, yum, this is so good. Yeah, let's try this, and get her excited about trying it, and not give her the idea of it's disgusting before she even eats it and gives it a chance. Now, if she doesn't like it, then that's fair. Also, with toddlers, let them try it again and again. So if she doesn't like a certain food, I'll wait a few days and then maybe let her try it again. And then if she doesn't like it again, I'll still wait a few days and let her try it again, or maybe a month or so. But I'm going to let her keep trying it, because even if she didn't like broccoli on day 1, she might like broccoli on day 30. Just because their tastes and their preferences, and as they learn new textures and taste, their palate changes and they get a little more adventurous. And then also sitting down as a family, I think, is important, even when your kids are toddlers and even when they're small like that, because they do pick up on the idea of, oh, we're all eating together. It's not just me eating by myself or mom or dad feeding me. We're eating as a family. And she sees what we're eating on our plates, and it's what I feed her. I feed her the same thing that we eat. We follow baby-led weaning, which isn't for everybody, but was right
What's
for
it called?
Baby-led weaning.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's where toddlers, basically, when you start them out on food, you kind of let them feed themselves versus coming in with the purees and the spoon and feeding them. It supports more of allowing them to control what they feel they need. So like their hunger, if they're hungry, they'll eat. And if once they're not hungry anymore, they can kind of stop on their own, versus you still coming at them with the spoon. Because it's obviously hard for you to tell if they're still hungry or not. And sometimes we do worry, like, oh my gosh, are they getting enough? So we follow baby-led weaning, which of course you can find. I'm not an expert on it by any means, but you can find out a lot of info on it. There are some great people. There's someone, Sarah Remmer on Instagram. She's wonderful. She does baby-led weaning. And just, yeah, but like, as I was saying, like sitting down as a family and really enjoying your food. And as your kids grow up and get a little bit older and can join in the conversation, you know, talking about where your food came from, how did it grow? How did you prepare it? Letting them come in the kitchen and helping you, which I know can be like a huge, huge frustration for some parents, because kids are just so messy and they're trying to stir and it's all over the counter and stuff. But they do get excited when they can prepare the food themselves or help with it. They get way more excited to eat it then.
It's true. That's true. They love, I can remember with my kids, they love making, you know, the cookies or the muffins. I think the motivator was actually licking off the spoon or the beater afterwards, but
Yes.
you know, they did like it. And now that they're older, they're going to be moving out soon. So I'm trying to teach them how to do it, but ultimately they got to figure it out for themselves.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Caroline. What's the best way for people to connect with you if they're looking for more information on how you can help?
So the best way would be to join our brand new Facebook group. It is Unstoppable Moms Health and Fitness, and you can just type that into Facebook and we'll pop up. It is such a fun group. Like, it just started not too long ago, but I'm really excited about it. We're sharing all kinds of tips and ideas in there. I really want to get people involved in the conversation. And so that is the best place to find out more info. And you can also find me on Instagram. I'm at Unstoppable Moms Fitness. And of course, we have a website as well, which is unstoppablemomsfitness.com.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me, Lucy.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Roller Coaster Podcast. Want to chat or share your ideas about today's show? Pop me an email at hello@therollercoasterpodcast.com. Don't forget to connect with me on Facebook and Instagram at The Roller Coaster Podcast. Our theme song, Roller Coaster, was performed by The Lucky Setback. Audio editing by the one and only Jeff Quigley of Quigley Creative.
Life is like a roller coaster, baby, baby. I wanna ride, 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 ride. Life is like